Hello, Aurora. It's me, Keith, and today I want to talk about the petitions that we filed just before the new year for the referendum that would help address pay-to-play and corruption that is very common in the city. So these petitions were signed by over 2,000 Aurora residents, and if you don't already know what this referendum is about, it would put a question on the ballot to limit campaign donations to $1,000 per year from anyone who is currently doing business with the city or is looking to do business with the city. I think this referendum is really important because there's a lot of pay-to-play that happens in Aurora, where typically the mayor will get a lot of money donated to him, and in return, he'll make sure that the city gives something back to his donors. Unfortunately, the petitions were challenged by Patty Smith, who is the Ward 8 alderwoman and a known ally of Richard Irvin. On Friday, Richard Irvin posted on Facebook supporting Patty Smith's objections against this referendum, and he said a lot of things, but one thing I want to point out is that he said that this is trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. Well, I can tell you that this absolutely is a real problem. In this video, I'm going to cover just one small piece of the puzzle because going over all of the pay-to-play would probably take hours. I'm going to focus on Scientel, which is an Aurora-based telecommunications company and has received millions of taxpayer dollars from the city. After some searching on the Illinois State Board of Elections website, I've found that Scientel and its CEO have given Richard Irvin at least $147,500 since 2017. This was given to him through his candidate committee known as Irvin for Aurora and a separate PAC called Build Our Future, which has transferred a lot of money into Richard Irvin's candidate committee. I also found that Scientel has given my opponent, Ron Woerman, $16,600 in two separate donations, one in 2021 and the second one in 2023. So why is Scientel so generous? So all the way back in 2017, during Richard Irvin's first year as mayor, he wanted Scientel to relocate from their old location in Lombard to what was then a vacant parcel in Aurora right off of Eola Road. When this first came to City Council, the council voted against it because across the street from where Scientel was going to move in and build a telecommunications tower was Cyrus One, which already had their own telecommunications tower. There were concerns that this would cause interference between the two towers. But Richard Irvin was determined to get Scientel to move into this location, so he strong-armed City Council and convinced them to vote again, and this time pass it. So a few months later, in January 2018, the City Council votes to allow Scientel to move in to the location on Eola Road. Then, only a few days after this passed, Cyrus One filed a lawsuit against Scientel and the city of Aurora, and the lawsuit eventually was settled in 2019, although I don't know what the terms of the settlement were. During this legal battle in 2018, a total of $15,000 was given to Richard Irvin by Scientel and its CEO, and then later in 2019, about a month and a half before the case was settled, an extra $22,000 was given to the Build Our Future PAC from Scientel. In 2021, another $30,000 was given to Richard Irvin's campaign, $22,500 was given to Build Our Future PAC, and $11,600 was given to Ron Woerman's campaign. Then, right in the middle of 2021, in June, City Council approved two agenda items awarding contracts to Scientel to install CCTV cameras around the city. These contracts were 3-year contracts totaling over $3.2 million taxpayer dollars. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I could go on about further tens of thousands of dollars of donations from Scientel and millions more in contracts and grants that the city has given to Scientel, some as recent as September of last year. But in the interest of time, I'm going to display on the screen here a list of donations given by Scientel and all of the times that Scientel has come up when I search for it in City Council meetings throughout the years. And this is just Scientel that I'm talking about. There are many others that have taken advantage of pay-to-play and corruption that I haven't mentioned. In his Facebook post, Richard Irvin says that there's nothing illegal going on here, and it's true that I don't have any evidence to show you today of any illegal activity that's going on. But this was the entire point of the referendum. Currently, corruption is legal in many different forms, and we have plenty of evidence to prove this. So despite what Richard Irvin says, this is a real problem, it does exist, and that is why we should change the law so it no longer is legal. Back in 2022, WTTW reported on the ties between Richard Irvin and Scientel, and they quoted Scientel's CEO saying that all of their contracts went through a competitive bidding process. But when I look back at the initial $3.2 million in contracts being awarded to Scientel, which initially happened in the Infrastructure and Technology Committee, the meeting minutes don't mention any discussion over these two agenda items, and they both passed unanimously with 5 votes. I also can't find any recording of this meeting. Whenever there are huge contracts like this on the table, regardless of whether the recipient is paying off the mayor like they are in the case of Scientel, City Council really needs to be asking questions and discussing things before they spend that kind of money. And perhaps in this case, City Council members could have spoken to staff outside of meetings, but having that discussion outside of open meetings is not transparent at all. So, of course, with this lack of transparency, residents are going to be suspicious when they see huge donations like this come in and huge contracts get awarded to the donors. From what I've seen on City Council, John Lash is the only one consistently asking questions and who is not afraid of voting no when the numbers don't add up. That's why I'm voting for John Lash for mayor. And if I'm elected, I will also be asking questions, and I will not just be another rubber stamp, regardless of who is mayor. As Richard Irvin says in his Facebook post, we need leaders who contribute positively, work collaboratively, and champion initiatives that truly benefit Aurora. And that is exactly why you should not vote for Richard Irvin. He is just another corrupt liar who only cares about himself and not about Aurora. That is why he opposes this referendum, despite it having such broad support from thousands of Aurora residents from across the political spectrum.